What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a fresh, brand new, unopened episode of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. I am your host, James Murphy, a.k.a. Murph, and I am so excited to bring you today's episode. However, there is so much depression in the air right now. There really is. I wanted so much to happen, so many great things to happen this past weekend, and quite frankly, nothing happened. I guess it was only two things. Red Sox, they lost the series 2 out of 3, so I will not be talking about the Red Sox. I told you they have to win the series or at least sweep them. Well, I guess that's technically winning the series. In order for me to talk about them, I will just briefly touch about the Toronto Blue Jays and how they are playing well out of their minds and how the Yankees are bumped out of the playoff picture if the season were to end today right now. That's really the only good thing that's come out of the weekend in terms of baseball, in terms of, Red Sox, right? But that's really all I'm going to touch about it. Obviously, we had to talk Patriots. Patriots Sunday yesterday, how they lost to the Dolphins 17-16 to the Miami Dolphins. Overall, great game. I'm going to dive well into it later on, and I cannot wait to do so because this will be our first regular season game that we have to break down here on Murph's Boston Sports Talk. Again, don't forget, I did start the podcast in the middle of January 15th, I believe it was the exact date. And we didn't have any Patriots games to talk about, so obviously the preseason was like really the first of many to talk about, but that's preseason, that don't count. However, obviously I have to make sure that I touch upon the pleasantries. How are you doing? Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend. The weather here in New England, the Rhode Island area, was absolutely stunning. It was gorgeous. Summer was like, bitch, I'm still here. Now, obviously, that might change this week. Let's just a quick check. It's supposed to rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and that's the day Kim and I are getting married. So that's Kim is freaking out about that. Kim is not enjoying the fact that Saturday it's supposed to rain 50%. We will have to wait and see what the weather eventually rolls to be like. However, hopefully you were able to enjoy this weekend. Summer is holding on to the last few days, hours that it possibly can. I don't want it to go. I hate cold weather. I was moving my truck. I think it was on Saturday. I was moving my truck for Kim so she can go to work. And I go outside, and it was bricks outside. Oh, I hated it. I literally told Kim, I hate this shit. And she laughed because she knew. Anyways, enough of that. So I guess I will talk about the Red Sox. I know I just briefly talked about them in the Blue Jays. I'm not really talking about the Red Sox. I'm going to talk about the Blue Jays. This, Murph's Toronto Sports Talk. Just kidding. That sounds awful. Blue Jays, 80-63. They are currently, we're tied with the Blue Jays for the lead for the American League Wild Card. However, they have one less loss, although we have one more win, so it kind of balances out. Blue Jays, 3-game winning streak, 9-10 in their last 10 games. I want to say they're like something crazy, like 13-14 in their past 14 games, or some crazy shit like that. Yankees falling off a cliff. They're 2-8 in their last 10. This wild card standing is getting really juicy. I ain't gonna lie. It's nice that the Red Sox are at least in the wild card picture. Obviously, it would have been nice if they weren't even in the wild card picture to begin with. But it is what it is. I wish they were in the division lead. But beggars can't be choosers, especially if you want the Red Sox to make it to October. At least we're not the Baltimore Orioles being 43 games out. But it's every game moving forward is a big game for the Sox. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 15 games left of the regular season. 15. If the Red Sox win them all, they can win 96 games. Jokes. But it's going to be a massive 15 games for the Red Sox. It really is. The division obviously well out of the picture now. You're really just battling for the wild card spot, whether you're going to have home field advantage or not for that one game plan. And the winner of that game will play the Tampa Bay Rays because they have the best record by like 6 games or so in the American League. But the Blue Jays, though, can we just talk about the Blue Jays for a second? Come trade deadline, I remember they were like 13 or so games out. But they were like 5 games or 6 games maybe out of the wild card. And I remember sitting here on this podcast saying, oh, the Yankees made moves, the Rays made moves, even the Blue Jays made moves. And they were a far shot, in my opinion, to get a wild card spot. And for a good month or so, they kind of were. They weren't really doing anything. Next thing you know, they're just rattling off, 13 of 14, I think it is? Holy shit. That's what the Red Sox need to do. They can't do it. The Red Sox are 5-5 in their last 10 games, obviously losing 2 of 3 to the White Sox. Oh my God, this is so dreadful. This is so dreadful. All while the Yankees are 2-8 in their last 10 games. So, Yankees kind of what they win 13 in a row, 19 of 21 or some shit like that in August. They've kind of fallen off a cliff. The season's long. The season is a long, long, treacherous journey, and you can't give up in it, no matter what. It's interesting. I mean, Blue Jays, Red Sox, Yankees, all fighting for 2 spots, but then you got the Athletics and the Mariners just 3 games back, and you're playing the Mariners this week. That's kind of stupid. I'm looking at the schedule right now, and I think it's just so stupid how they play 3 games against the White Sox, sure, and then they go all the way to Seattle to play 3 games there. But that's it. No Angels, no A's, no West Coast swing, anything like that. Ugh. The schedule sometimes pisses me off. Anyways, that's really all I want to talk about in terms of baseball, because the Red Sox weren't able to win the series, whether it was 2 of 3 or a sweep, so I'm not going to talk about them anymore. But I do want to talk about the National League Wild Card, because this thing is juicy. This is heating up big time. Now, I know the Dodgers, they're plus 16 games over the second wild card spot, which kind of sucks. It kind of makes it no fun, because the Dodgers are leading, like I said, but now it's the Cincinnati Reds and the San Diego Padres battling for that second spot. And you got the Cardinals 1 game out, Phillies 2.5 games out, and the Mets 3 games out. Oh, and just a fun fact, believe it or not, but the Colorado Rockies are 9 games out. A little too late for the Rockies, even though they're 5-5 in their last 10. But 9 games out, give them another month. I don't know. They could make a little noise. But anyways, that's besides the point. A lot of people don't like the extra wild card team. And I understand that, because, they shouldn't be letting more teams into the playoffs. I get that. Some people don't like the 1-game plan because everything else is a series. It should be a series based on the long season. I get that. But that 1-game playoff is the most exciting baseball outside of a Game 7. I'm not even kidding. It's so juicy and good. And if there's a 2-way tie for that second wildcard spot between the Reds, the Padres, or whoever else may sneak into that spot for a tie, there's going to be a 1-game play-in there. Then there's going to be a 1-game play-in, obviously, for the actual wild card. And it's a good thing that there's that 2 wild card, because if there wasn't, the loser of the division, the Dodgers or the Giants, are running away with it. They could literally just sit. They could have their single A team play the rest of the season, and they'll still win the wild card spot, if it was the old traditional format with only 1 wild card team. Now, if we look at the American League and there was that 1 wild card team, it's the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, the Yankees, Mariners, and Athletics all fighting for just 1. So I like the 2. I like the 2 wild card spots. I hear some spermers or whatever of baseball expanding the playoffs again. I'm open to the idea. Like I mentioned before, you have to expand Major League. You have to expand to 32 teams in order to do that, because right now it's 7 from each league. That's 14 teams. We don't need more than half the league. We don't need the NBA to make the playoffs, because it just waters it down. Now, could I get on the idea of making the playoffs longer? Yeah, I can get on board with that. But then again, you don't need to extend the season. If you chop out a few regular season games, make that wild card play in a best 2 of 3, the divisional series maybe out of 7. I don't know. I don't know how I like that. I kind of like where it's at right now with 30 teams. If they ever go up to 32, then we can have a conversation later. But that's basically all I'm going to talk about baseball-wise, honestly, because there's really not much to talk about. since I'm not going to be talking about the Red Sox, so I'm just going to kind of jump over to the Patriots here. And first, reach for it. Water. Gotta hydrate. All right, let's keep going. Patriots. Patriots lost 17-16 to the Miami Dolphins. I don't know where to start. I don't know. Defense looked really good. A lot of bend, don't break in the defense. From the Patriots defense, of course. I'm just like a loss for words. Because probably should have won this game. I mean, Nick Folk, 3 for 3 on field goals, 42 long, 10 points total. Take that. Jake Bailey, 99 yards on 2 punts for a 49.5 average. If you haven't checked out my story yet on Instagram, did it go to Facebook too? I think it also posted to Facebook. I forget. Let me double check. All right, it did. My Facebook story and my Instagram story. Go check it out right now if you haven't. But it shows that I was at the Patriots game. And yes, I was. I was indeed at the Patriots game. So I have a first-hand experience, first-hand knowledge of this game. And let me tell you. I've sat here in this seat behind this mic and said that I'm not a fan of Nelson Agholor. Which is true. I'm not sold on him yet. But being at the game yesterday and watching him, and Mac Jones was just connecting with him time and time again, he's growing on me. I'll admit it, he is growing on me, okay? Now, I've said that I don't think he's worth the money. He's got tons of drop issues. One season in Vegas. Didn't think he was worth all that much. And I still don't. I'm not convinced. But he is growing on me. He was a reliable guy. 5 receptions, 72 yards for a touchdown, 14.4 average. It seemed like whenever a play needed to be made, it was either going to Agholor or even Jacoby Myers. Because Jacoby Myers, 6 for 44 himself. But also you can't discredit James White for being, that third down back, that pass catching back, that beautiful wheel route on 3rd and 11. Can't forget about that. But at least White and Myers have been in the system for a bit now. Obviously, White for plenty of years. Jacoby Myers his 3rd year. But see, Nelson Agholor, new guy, just welcome to the team this past year. I liked what I saw. All right, is it bad for me to accept that or admit that? I like the guy. He's growing on me. But I'm not sold on him. I know there's people out there that really do like him, and that's fine. I might be one of those people soon. I'm not going to say that I won't be. But I'm not there yet. Jonnu Smith, 5 receptions, 42 yards. Hunter Henry, 3 for 31. Damien Harris, a little bit in the passing game, 2 for 17. Kendrick Bourne, 1 for 17, not worth the money. And Ramondre Stevenson had 1 for 9 yards. The running game. Let's talk about the running game. So that's about the passing game. The running game. 23 carries, 100 yards for Damien Harris. 4.3 average. Solid. But he had that fumble late in the 4th. I really wanted to go into this episode and be very chippy, very happy. Great game. It is what it is. I'm not going to bag Damien Harris for fumbling the ball, even though should have just covered it up because he didn't need to rush for a touchdown because you were in field goal range. So you could have kicked the field goal. Or you just move on to the next play. There's still 3.5 minutes or so left. I think it was like 3 and change at the time. Oh, but that just deflated the crowd. Oh my God, it just deflated it. In the worst case scenario, not worst case scenario, the worst thing about it is he's running with the ball, he goes down, and all of us Patriot fans like, yeah, closer, we're getting closer. And the next thing you know, the Dolphins have the ball. Whoever's running out of the pack with the ball. And we're like, what? And oftentimes, player will go down, they'll kind of drop the ball or whatever, or the ball will be fumbled, but they're already downed. And the defense will try to take up the ball and just say, oh, look what I found. Nope. This was a clean fumble. Obviously, us in the crowd didn't know it at the time. We look at the replay, confirmed the fumble. It's like, oh my God. And at that time, you still had 3 timeouts. You had the 2-minute warning. So it's like, you know what? You can do it. You can do it. No, couldn't do it. Dolphins won. It's like, oh, he was so close. So close. Overall, though, except that fumble, Damien Harris had a good game. He did. I mean, 23 carries, 100 yards, 4.3 average, like I said. Second year as it's his first year as the full-time running back. So far, so good. I mean, no Sony Michel. J.J. Taylor was a healthy scratch. James White isn't a ground and pound guy. Brandon Bolden saw a carry for 5 yards, but he's more of a special teamer. And Ramondre Stevenson, who also fumbled, only had 1 carry. So it was literally all Damien Harris. All go. And did that wear him down? I don't know. He's a big guy, big power back guy. He really shouldn't, be tired and fatigued like that. And I was at the game. Obviously, I don't have all the stats in front of me. I thought he carried the ball 35 times. And 35 times and he fumbles. Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense in terms of fatigue, being tired. But only 23 times, you should be able to hold on to that ball, dude. I mean, there's really no excuse for you to not hold that ball. But you know what? It's only one game. 17 games. So we have 16 more now. Am I worried? No. And on Friday, actually, I talked about how the Cowboys, they lost to the Buccaneers by a late second field goal. And if you're the Cowboys leaving that game, you got to feel good. And in a similar way, I feel the same way because, you look at the Patriots, you got to feel good about this game, right? And then I looked, do you? Are the Dolphins really going to be that kind of a team? Are the Dolphins really going to be that kind of a team where you got to feel good coming out of them? Whether it's the Patriots or whoever it is. I mean, when I look at the Dolphins statistics here, let me look at the Dolphins stats real quick. Gaskins, 9 for 49. Malcolm Brown, 5 for 16. Devontae Parker, 4 for 81. Waddle, 4 for 61. Myles Gaskins, 5 for 27. I mean, Tua had a 202 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. No way can I compare the Cowboys losing to the Buccaneers the same way that the Patriots lost to the Dolphins. That's not a comparable thing. Just looking at the statistics, how the Patriots were in a position to win, and they blew it. The Cowboys put themselves in that position to win. They executed and put themselves there. It just so happens that the Buccaneers marched down the field for a late second field goal. Now, could the Dolphins have done the same thing? Absolutely. We could have kicked the field goal. They would have had a minute and a half or whatever left. They could have marched down and kicked the field goal themselves. Fine. That's entirely possible. Patriots scored a touchdown, some time left. Dolphins marched down the field. They got to score a touchdown as well. All those things are very possible. But when you haven't put yourself in that position to win yet, like the Cowboys did, playing against the defending Super Bowl champions, very highly favored to win the Super Bowl again this year, and you lose on a field goal that could easily have been shanked, or your defense could just easily I don't want to say easily, but your defense could have made one stop. You can't compare. This is apples and oranges, bananas and grapes, grapefruits and melons. This is not the same. This is not the same. Because, A, the Dolphins are no damn Buccaneers. Yeah, they play in Florida together, but that doesn't friggin' matter. The Dolphins aren't expected to win the Super Bowl this year. They're not even expected to be in the playoffs. Could they sneak in? Yes, of course. But they're not expected like the Buccaneers are. If you won that game, you would be in the division lead right now. You'd be in the division lead because the Jets lost, the Bills lost. Surprisingly, let's talk about that real quick. The Bills lost to the Steelers in Buffalo. Buffalo Bills got to move to Providence. They got to be the Providence Bills. It's the only way they're going to save that franchise. But the Bills got to feel the similar way. I don't even know. How would you feel about that? I mean, they're expected to make a deep playoff push. Some people picking them to be in the Super Bowl. Some people picking them to win the Super Bowl. I mean, in my prediction, I have them in the Super Bowl. And obviously, starting off 0-1 is no bueno. So it's not the end of the world. Patriots started off 0-1 before. They've won the Super Bowl. They've started off 0-2 before, and they've won the Super Bowl. Except those years you had Tom Brady. So it's a tough one to swallow. It really is, because you were right there. And if you did win, you feel really good about yourself, especially going into the schedule that's coming up. You have the Jets next week. That should be a win. And you're 2-0. And worst case, the Dolphins, the Bills, or whatever, are 1-1. Then you play against the Saints, who, by the way, looked really good. Jameis Winston, Jabu. We eating this dub. We're eating this dub. Jameis Winston. Looked good. And a lot of people had question marks. A lot of people had doubts. But they looked good. They destroyed the Packers. I mean, absolutely decimated them. Didn't see it coming. Completely did not see it coming. And then obviously you have that Buccaneers game for week 4. So, I mean, you're looking at 2-2 now, maybe at best. You're looking at 2-2. Got to win the Jets game. And then you got to win the Saints or the Buccaneers game. I'm going to assume that the Buccaneers game's a loss. So and then the Saints game's a win, maybe. 2-2. Best case scenario. Worst case, 1-3. And yes, we had a rookie quarterback, but no, it wasn't Mac Jones' fault. I haven't touched his stats yet. 29 for 39, 281 yards, 1 touchdown. He did have that ugly, quote-unquote, backwards pass. Technically fumble. In his first drive. Luckily, Jonnu Smith was there to dive on it, recover it. But holy smokes. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, he knows the pressure's coming, Mac Jones. He knows he doesn't have enough time. He knows he's going down. He's trying to make a play. I just think the emotions just got a little ahead of himself. But he's a smart guy. He'll figure it out. Those mistakes will never happen again. Just tuck it, unless you can throw it away or hit somebody, which I know he was trying to kind of shovel it to Jonnu Smith. Just go down. Just take the sack. Just take the sack there. It was first quarter. No need to make any desperation plays. That's a desperation play. If it was fourth quarter, say fourth and 10 or whatever, and you need to make an absolute desperation play, get the ball out of my hands because I'm going down. Here, take it. I can understand that and I can accept that. But no, this is first quarter. No need to do that. No need to put your team in that kind of a position. Looking at the Patriots schedule, you got Texans week 5. Texans won. Shocker. Absolute stunning shocker right there. I'm not going to lie. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because obviously with baseball, it's easier, or baseball, basketball, or hockey, it's easier to look at 1 or 2 weeks ahead because you get 5, 6, 7 games or whatever sport it is. Me looking 5 weeks ahead, that's only 5 games. So I want to try to stay relatively close. Just look at the first month of the season. Jets, Saints, Buccaneers, all ahead of us. It's going to be interesting. Patriots should win against the Jets. Then again, they should have won against the Dolphins. So got to take it with a grain of salt. But are the Dolphins really going to be competitive this year? Are they really going to be competitive this year? I don't think so. I mean, some people may be pegging them as a sneaky wild card team. But that's some people. Sneaky wild card team. People have the Patriots. Some people have the Patriots either pegged in the wild card or just simply out of it. There's none of that gray area. I mean, being at the game yesterday, the Dolphins defense looked solid. Had holes, obviously. Patriots defense looked really solid. The running game, obviously, was significantly more improved than it was last year. That fourth quarter, couldn't stop them. Just ugly, couldn't stop them. Secondary, though. What did I think of the secondary? I thought the secondary was pretty solid, all things considered. I mean, 17 points given up by this defense as a whole, pretty good. Jalen Mills made a fantastic play to break up a touchdown in the end zone. Josh Uche looking really nice with a sack. Joanne Williams Didn't really notice him. Not going to lie. Jonathan Jones, the slot corner, had a nice interception there. Oh, J.C. Jackson did get torched. Oh, I think it was Devontae Parker that torched him up the side. And all J.C. Jackson, easier said than done, had to put a hand up where the catch radius was for Devontae Parker. It looks like he was trying to, off balance, kind of did. But if he was able to put a hand up there, probably would have broke up. That was probably a big gain too. I forget what it was, like 20 yards or something like that. Would we have won if we had Stephon Gilmore? I would say yes. Because Gilmore would have been on Parker, Jackson on Waddle, or Jones on Waddle, who if he was in the slot. Determining if he was in the slot or not. I don't know. It's only one game. It's only one game. Too early to tell. Do I still like the Patriots this year to be a playoff team? Absolutely. We're actually not even going to see the Dolphins until week 18, actually. So long road between now and the next time we see them. But not even worried about it. Let's take a trip around the NFL. And let's just briefly talk about scores, shall we? I know I kind of touched upon some other scores. Texans winning, this and that. Obviously, we know about the Buccaneers beating the Cowboys. The Eagles smoked the Falcons. The battle of the birds. The battle of the dirty birds. 32-6. Absolutely torched them. Steelers 23-16. Kind of a shocking win, ain't gonna lie. That defense stepped up incredibly. That defense was stifling. It was tough. Whew. Steelers defense still has it. But ironically enough, that was the Buffalo Bills games to lose. They were up 10-0 entering the third quarter. Steelers, get 6. Then they get 17 unanswered in the fourth quarter. Holy smokes. What a big win for the Steelers and what a tough loss for the Bills. Vikings, Bengals, Joey Burrow getting the win. Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon, top performers for me in fantasy. Or had top performances, I should say, for me in fantasy. Didn't expect that happen let me try that again. Did not expect that to happen at all. This game did go into overtime, ironically enough, but the Bengals were able to kind of come out on top. One game. Are we really going to sit here and say the Bengals are going to compete for a wild card spot? Hey, they might. They absolutely might. I mean, look at the Dolphins. They beat us, and now they're in first place in the division, so you never know. Is this a big win for the Bengals, or is this a bad loss for the Vikings? I think this is See, that NFC North is kind of open. Because, the Packers got absolutely smoked. But also, it just depends on how invested Aaron Rodgers is. I've said this countless times. If Aaron Rodgers is invested, he's going on a fuck you tour. If he just wants to collect checks and call it a year, then the Packers aren't going to win the division. It could be the Bears. It could be the Vikings division. And yes, the Bengals did win this game, but how good are they really going to be this year? I mean, they're in a tough North division. Steelers, the Ravens, the Titans. Steelers won. Titans lost. We'll get to that in a second. The Ravens, they play tonight. I'm just trying to think. I'm going to say that this is a big win for the Bengals because I think the Vikings, if the Packers aren't going to be competitive or at least not dominant, I think the Vikings will be able to rebound from this loss. But the Bengals being able to pick up a huge week 1 win will actually really carry them into next week, obviously, and maybe they can build upon that, string together a few wins, 4 or 5 or whatever. We don't know. We're not going to be able to tell if the Bengals are competitive unless they win games. So there you go. Big win for the Bengals. 49ers beat the Lions. Sorry for the long pause there. But the Lions, they actually showed out. 33 total points for the Lions. Obviously, 41 for the 49ers. Didn't expect that. I thought, 49ers could score 41. The Lions scoring 33. Didn't see that coming. good game for them. Obviously, yeah, it's tough to lose, especially when you score 33 points. I just don't think the Lions are going to be able to do it for this whole year. I just think they're going to be absolute dog water, like the Texans, but they won, so it's a slap in my face. Big win for the 49ers. A lot of people are giving the division to the Rams. A lot of people having the Seahawks in the playoffs. A lot of people are picking the 49ers to win the division and have them in the playoffs as well. But, a team that's always plagued with injuries, big year for Jimmy Garoppolo. They needed this win, especially against a trash bag team of the Lions. So, good win for the 49ers there. Cardinals put the Tennessee Titans to work. 38 points for the Cardinals, beating the Titans who scored 13 points, I should say. DeAndre Hopkins, what can I say? 6 receptions, 83 yards, and 2 touchdowns. No crazy stat line, but those 2 touchdowns on 6 receptions, that's definitely something to note. Sorry, my page just jumped because an ad popped up. So my page just completely jumped up to the top of the screen. Oh, I'm seeing this on the sideline. On the side here on the page. Detroit Lions cornerback Jeff Okudah out for season with ruptured Achilles. Oh, you hate to see that. Was that during the game? After rupturing his Achilles tendon in Detroit's loss. Oof. Jeff Okudah, former Buckeyes. Liked him a lot coming out of Ohio State. Big time potential. Still has it, even with this ruptured Achilles, but it's going to be tough to come back next year. But that's a huge blow to the Lions, who already don't have a lot. Okay. Kyler Murray, 21-32, 289 yards, 4 touchdowns. Could we see an MVP type year for Kyler Murray this year? Could we see an MVP type year for Kyler Murray? I didn't pick him. No, I did not pick him. Who did I pick as my MVP, actually? I kind of forget. Derrick Henry. Oof. Oof. I don't know. Kyler Murray. Throw his name in there. And this is only week 1, obviously, right? I mean, he could suck next week or he could carry on. We'll just never know. Seahawks beat the Colts 28-16. Kind of expected it. Russell Wilson looked Russell Wilson. Colts, I don't know. I don't know about the Colts after this game. They lost by 12. Close game, but it didn't feel close. At home, would have been nice to win, obviously, for them. A lot of people like the Colts this year, whether it's, as a wild card team, sneaky wild card team, miraculously winning the division. But I don't know. I don't have them pegged as a wild card team or anything in my playoff predictions for the NFL season. Yeah, it's only week 1. It's so hard to kind of gauge. It's only week 1, right? But Chargers, Washington, 2016 in favor of the Chargers. Herbert, 337 yards for a touchdown. Keenan Allen, 9 for 100 yards. All right. Chargers get a huge win. They needed that win. I have them as a sneaky wildcard team. Washington's a good team. They'll be in the playoff mix in some capacity, whether it's division or the wild card. So that was a good win for them. Justin Herbert, though, big year 2 for him. Big year 2 for Tua, Herbert, and Joe Burrow. Good to see that, relatively speaking. All 3 had a nice day, with the exception of Tua. I mean, didn't have a really nice day, but at least he got the win. That's kind of all that matters. All 3 of those rookie quarterbacks from last year got wins, ironically enough. Panthers beat the Jets 19-14. Jets tried to mount a comeback late in the game, fell short. But you know what? Jets looked bad that first half and most of the third quarter, but they were able to kind of come back, make a little bit of noise. But it was just a little too much for the Panthers. Corey Davis, new wide receiver for the Jets, 5 receptions, 97 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Sam Darnold in his first game against his former team and his first game with his new team, 279 yards and a touchdown. Actually, he threw it to Robbie Anderson, who is also a former member of the Jets and former now teammate of Sam Darnold. Anyways, I'm going to shut up. Texans beating the Jaguars 37-21. Did not see this coming at all. Tyrod Taylor, big game for him. First start as a Texan. First start since week 1 or 2 of last year when the friggin' Chargers doctor punctured his lung. Trevor Lawrence, 28 of 51 for 332 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mark Ingram, looking vintage, 26 carries, 85 yards and a touchdown. Brandon Cooks, 5 for 132. Texans, that offense just ate all day. Jeez, it just 14 points in the first, 13 in the second, 7 in the third, 3 in the fourth. It just, points. Did not see it coming. I know the Jaguars are no good team. They don't have a great defense or a fiery offense. A lot of people picked the Jaguars to win because it was Trevor Lawrence's first game and such. The Texans are ass. I mean, I think I picked the Jaguars to win, but look at the Texans. Holy smokes. No, they're not competitive. They're not going to be competitive. Don't you worry. Neither will the Jaguars. Browns, almost. This was the game that everybody at Gillette was keeping track of. Oh, my God. This was so close. Sorry, I just had a yawn. This was so close. But the Chiefs and Mahomes do Chiefs and Mahomes things. Just score in bundles. I think the Browns are winning 29-20 at one point. Yeah, 29-20. And then they score 13 unanswered to end the game. That would have been a huge win for the Browns. Because then they would have owned that tiebreaker. Chiefs, they would have rebounded. They would have been fine. But the Browns, that's such a tough loss to slip away. Got to feel good about your team. Honestly, the Browns losing to the Chiefs is exactly the same way that Cowboys lost to the Buccaneers. You were so close. You just got outperformed a little bit. You're able to dance with one of the league's best teams. You could win, out of 10 times, you might be able to win that game a decent amount. I'm not going to put a number on it, but a decent amount of times. So you got to feel good coming out of Cleveland with that game. Obviously, the win would have been nice, but the Browns will be okay. The Browns will rebound, but it would have been nice to have that win. Nice comeback from the Chiefs, showing everyone that they still have it. Dolphins beating the Patriots. Obviously, I touched about that. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. 38-3. Saints over the Packers. Jameis Winston, 14 for 20, 148 yards, 5 touchdowns. 9 completions weren't touchdowns. Wow, what a big game. Only 148 yards, though. But still, Saints playing in Jacksonville due to Hurricane Ida. They still put on a performance. They still showed out. Big-time win for the Saints, especially because there's a lot of question marks with Jameis Winston and the Saints this year. How are they going to look with no Drew Brees? How are they going to look with Michael Thomas injured for a while? And then you throw on the fact that they're playing against the Packers, who a lot of people are picking to be in the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, or make a deep playoff run. Massive win for the Saints. Absolutely massive win for the Saints. Broncos beat the Giants 27-13. Daniel Jones, 267 yards, 1 touchdown. Melvin Gordon looked like he was with the Chargers still, 101 yards and a touchdown. Sterling Shepard, 113 yards, 7 receptions, and a touchdown for the Giants. I got nothing to say about this game. I mean, both teams aren't going to do anything in their respective divisions and conferences. And then the big Sunday night game, Rams beating the Bears 34-14. Bears did not look good or as good as I thought they were going to, offensively or defensively. However, for the Rams, they outperformed offensively, and they looked great defensively. Whew. Matt Stafford, by the way, in that Rams jersey, looks clean. I'm not a big fan of those Rams jerseys, but Matt Stafford in the Rams jerseys looks pretty clean to me. So those are your scores around the NFL for the first NFL Sunday of 2021. We do have the Ravens versus the Raiders tonight in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. The line is Baltimore -4, over under 50.5. I will take, I'm going to go under on the line. And I think the Raiders will win, so the Raiders will cover. Bold prediction right there. That's your bold prediction of the day, right? So that's everything I have to talk about in today's episode. I know that it's a relatively shorter episode compared to recent ones, but there's not much to talk about besides what we already talked about. I mean, we talked about the Patriots, Mac Jones, Harris, and all that good stuff, how the loss was brutal. We went around the league talking about all the games around the league. And the Patriots game. The Patriots game. But then we also touched upon Red Sox and baseball, too, earlier in the episode. I mean, did I talk too fast? Did I not cover enough? I don't friggin' know. I just kind of go with the flow. Anyways, before I do go, I do have a quick little announcement, shop-related announcements, and then there's one referring to the podcast. So the first announcement for Murph's Cardtown Sports Shop is that we are now officially hosting kids' birthday parties. Very super excited to have kids' birthday parties hosted here at the shop. I think it would be absolutely fantastic to have your special day here at the shop. So definitely reach out to me on social media at Murph's Cardtown, or simply inquire within here at the shop. Give you all the details, all the information needed that you will need. But yes, we are now hosting kids' birthday parties. I'm super excited to make that announcement. The second one is in reference to the shop being open and some hours. Murph's Cardtown Sports Shop will be closed the following days due to Murph's wedding and honeymoon. Hey, that's me. Saturday, 9/18, Monday, 9/20 to Friday, 9/24. We will be closed those 6 days. Yeah, I know that's a lot, right? Also note that Thursday, 9/16, so this Thursday, the shop will be open from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Thank you for the understanding and sorry for any inconvenience. Those are two related shop announcements. And then I guess the third one related to the podcast is if I'm not going to be at the shop and if the shop's going to be closed on Monday and Friday next week, you could probably understand that there will be no Murph's Boston Sports Talk on either of those days as well. As Kim and I will be traveling for our honeymoon, we are going to St. Martin in the Caribbean. It's going to be such a great time. It's going to be super fun and relaxing. I will be probably stressed because I won't be able to run the shop, have the podcast out there. I don't like taking time off when I could be open, but it's a honeymoon. You only get one in your life. Well, knock on wood. You only get one in your life, and it is definitely a much-needed break for both Kim and I. So I'm excited for that. But yes, I do apologize. There will be no Murph's Boston Sports Talk next Monday and next Friday for obvious reasons. Do not worry. There will be an episode this Friday, though, of course, as always. But those are three announcements that I wanted to broadcast out there. They will all be on social media, and obviously they are all posted here at the shop as well. But ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, all over the world, that is going to do it for today's episode of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. Thank you so much. Thank you literally so much for joining me for today's episode number 89. We are so close to 100. Holy smokes. That is going to do it, though. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to me via social media at Murph's Cardtown. You can hit me up with any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, opinions, anything you want to discuss, talk about, debate, or anything of the like. Or if you're listening to this podcast on YouTube, feel free to leave those thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to talk about down in the comments section below. And if you are listening to this on YouTube, while you're there, please hit the nice giant thumbs up button, as that'd be a great way for you to show support for not only the channel, but at least the episode that we had today. And also, while you're down there, please hit that giant red subscribe button if you haven't done so already or haven't considered subscribing yet, as I would greatly appreciate that. Audio listeners, thank you so much for listening, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find me. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and enjoying on all platforms, whether it's YouTube or audio-only platforms. I really, really appreciate it. If you're in the area, definitely stop by the shop today or anytime this week, as I would love to hear your thoughts, comments, concerns, questions, whatever, anything you want to talk or debate about today's episode, a previous episode. Come by the shop. We'll have a great conversation, because when people come by the shop, whether it's sports or sports cards related, there's always a good conversation to be had. So that is going to do it for today's episode. Like I said, thank you so much for downloading, listening, and enjoying, and have a fantastic week. If it does rain, try to stay dry, but the weather is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful outside this week. with the exception of the rain. Go outside, enjoy, because before you know it, it's going to be freezing cold, and we're not going to be able to enjoy ourselves outside. So I will catch you in the next one on Friday for episode 90 of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. But between now and then, you guys know that I love you. You know that I will always, 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 always see you.